On our website, you can get PDF learning materials for free. Please visit englist.me.
Correspondent.
A person who writes news reports for publication or broadcast.
Examples:
A foreign correspondent. Correspondent bank. The special correspondent reported live from the front line of the conflict.
Crack.
To break or cause to break without dividing into separate parts. Noun, a line on the surface of something along which it is separated without breaking.
Examples:
Crack an eggshell. A crack in a board. He that would eat the kernel must crack the nut.
Industrious.
Hardworking, diligent, and persistent in effort.
Examples:
Industrious worker. Industrious student. He was known to be very industrious and would often work late into the night.
Midpoint.
The exact middle point or position between two things or places, a point that is equidistant from two other points.
Examples:
Midpoint formula. Midpoint theorem. The midpoint between New York City and Los Angeles is located in Kansas.
Coverage.
The reporting or news of an important event, sports, subject, etc., the amount, range, area, or quality of something that something provides.
Examples:
Full coverage insurance. Contractual coverage. The scandal received widespread media coverage.
Agenda.
A list or outline of things to be done, discussed, or considered.
Examples:
Agenda setting. Ambitious agenda. The agenda for the meeting includes discussions on the budget and new project proposals.
Scarce.
Not abundant or plentiful, and therefore not easy to find or obtain.
Examples:
Scarce resources. Capital scarce country. Fresh water is becoming increasingly scarce in many parts of the world.
Oversee.
Situated or operating beyond national boundaries, in, from, or to foreign countries.
Examples:
Overseas shipments. For overseas use. The company enhanced overseas operations to tap into new markets.
Blank.
Without any writing or printing, empty or devoid of ideas, information, or meaning, unable to remember or recall information.
Examples:
Blank expression. Blank paper. The computer screen displayed nothing but a blank white screen.
Conflict.
A strong disagreement, argument, or a violent clash between two opposing groups or individuals.
Examples:
The conflict between good and evil. the long-standing conflict. He and I often had conflicts, not only in personality, but also in ideology.
Zone.
A specific area, region, or section that is marked off or defined in some way.
Examples:
Time zone. Zone defense. He was reluctant to leave his comfort zone and try something new.
Climate.
The weather in a particular location averaged over some long period.
Examples:
A cold climate. Effects of climate change. Climate and weather have an impact on every part of our lifestyles.
Crisis.
A time of great disagreement, confusion, or danger when problems must be resolved or critical decisions must be taken.
Examples:
Financial crisis. Crisis management. The Chinese word for crisis comprises two characters, one for danger and the other for opportunity.
Sink.
To submerge or go down below the surface of a liquid or substance, to decline or deteriorate, to cause something to go down into a liquid substance or sink into something else.
Examples:
Sink a lot of capital. Sink a buzzer beater. The abandoned ship slowly began to sink into the murky waters of the harbor.
Complexity.
The state or quality of being complicated or intricate and difficult to understand.
Examples:
Cognitive complexity. Complexity theory. The project's complexity made it difficult for the team to complete it on time.
Practical.
Of or connected with actual use or real situation rather than with theory and ideas.
Examples:
Practical English. Gain practical experience. Her concept is highly practical and helpful.
Implication.
Something that is inferred or indirectly stated, the act or fact of being involved in something.
Examples:
The implication in a crime. The implication of a word. His poem has a very significant implication.
Fundamental.
Forming an essential base or core from which everything else develops or is affected.
Examples:
Fundamental education. Fundamental rights. Human behavior has fundamental characteristics.
Invisible.
Impossible or nearly impossible to see.
Examples:
An invisible asset. Invisible stars. The phenomenon is invisible at optical wavelengths.
Takeover.
An act of taking control of something, especially the buying out of one company by another, an act of taking control of a country or an area by force.
Examples:
A takeover of a company. Consolidation takeover. The takeover deal was worth a few tens of billions of dollars.
Violent.
Involving or caused by physical force or aggression against someone or something.
Examples:
Victim of a violent crime. Violent incident. The protesters became violent when the police tried to disperse them.
Observation.
The act or activity of carefully examining or monitoring something or someone.
Examples:
Class observation day. Observation instrument. In the hospital, she will remain under constant observation.
Specialize.
To become an expert in a specific career field, study, or business.
Examples:
Specialize in childcare. Specialize in market research. The restaurant has chefs who specialize in beef.
Intimate.
Having a very close friendship, personal.
Examples:
My intimate affairs. Intimate relationship. He has an intimate knowledge of American history.
Stability.
The quality or attribute of being firm and steadfast.
Examples:
Stability pact. Fiscal stability pact. The policy should increase the country's monetary stability.
Policymaker.
A person in charge of or involved in developing action plans for a political party, business, etc.
Examples:
Education policymaker. Regional policymaker. Policymakers struggle to develop various laws and regulations to address international trade conflicts.
Consistent.
Always behaving or happening in the same way, or having the same thoughts, standards, etc.
Examples:
Do on a consistent basis. Get consistent results. You are not consistent in your behavior.
Convene.
To come or bring together a group of people for a meeting or activity.
Examples:
Convene a press conference. Convene the council. The Parliament will convene at 1 p.m. tomorrow.
Entrepreneur.
An individual who creates or invests in one or more businesses, especially when this involves taking financial risks.
Examples:
A successful entrepreneur. Billionaire entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs willingly accept business risks to achieve success.
Startup.
A newly established company or business.
Examples:
Startup business. Early stage startup. Our company's services are targeted at startup executives.
Trench.
A long, deep ditch made in the ground, usually parallel to a plate boundary and marking a subduction zone. A long ditch built in the ground for carrying away water.
Examples:
Deep sea trench. Trench excavator. A trench was being dug alongside the road by workers.
Statistics.
The discipline that concerns the collection, organization, analysis, interpretation, and presentation of data.
Examples:
Statistics for cancer. Official statistics. The statistics demonstrate that poverty and unemployment are genuine problems.
Arguably.
Used when expressing an opinion or idea that you believe can be proven true.
Examples:
She is arguably the best singer. Arguably the greatest discovery. He is arguably regarded as the finest actor of his generation.
Idealist.
A person who is guided by ideals or principles rather than practical considerations or reality. A person who seeks to achieve a particular vision or goal for the betterment of society or humanity.
Examples:
Idealist at heart. An idealist perspective. As a dedicated idealist, she always fought for what was right, no matter the cost.
Optimist.
A person who tends to expect the best in all things and to be hopeful and confident about the future.
Examples:
Optimist by nature. Excessive optimist. She is a confident optimist who always looks on the bright side.
Domain.
A specific sphere of influence or control, a specific field of knowledge or expertise.
Examples:
Domain of use. A dependent domain. The company's domain in the market was expanding to new territories.
Layoff.
The temporary or permanent dismissal of employees from a company or organization due to a lack of work or financial difficulties. Involuntary termination of employment.
Examples:
Temporary layoff. Mass layoff. The workers protested against the unfairness of the layoff, claiming they should have been consulted first.
Endangered.
At risk of extinction because it is facing significant threats.
Examples:
Endangered species. Endangered ecosystem. The government has implemented policies to protect the habitat of endangered animals.
Journalist.
A person who collects and writes news stories or articles for newspapers, magazines, radio, television, or other online media.
Examples:
A China-based journalist. Journalist on a magazine. Foreign TV crews and journalists can go as they please in various locations during the Olympics.
Collaborate.
To work with someone else to produce or achieve something.
Examples:
collaborate with the police, collaborate on a press release. She agreed to collaborate with him in creating new artwork.
Fetch.
To go and bring back something or someone, to retrieve or obtain something.
Examples:
Fetch the mail. Fetch a ball. Could you help me fetch the ball from the other side of the field?
Suburb.
An outlying district or residential area of a city or town, typically comprising middle-class and affluent neighborhoods.
Examples:
Suburb development. Suburb life. He grew up in the suburbs, but always dreamed of living in the city.
Wheelchair.
A chair fitted with large wheels for use as a means of transport by a person who is unable to walk.
Examples:
Electric-powered wheelchair. Wheelchair accessibility. This library rents out various types of folding wheelchairs for visitors.
Chief.
Most important or primary, noun, a person who is in charge.
Examples:
Chief accountant. Chief events of the year. Mining is a chief source of income for the country.
Curb.
To restrain, limit, or control something. To reduce or put a stop to something undesirable. Noun, the raised edge or barrier along the edge of a street, road, or sidewalk.
Examples:
Curb appetite. Curb anxiety. He tried to curb his anger during the argument with his friend.
Ebola.
A highly contagious and often fatal viral disease that causes severe fever and internal bleeding, primarily occurring in remote areas of Central and West Africa.
Examples:
Ebola epidemic. Ebola virus. The Ebola outbreak in West Africa caused widespread panic and fear.
Quarantine.
A state of isolation imposed on people or animals to prevent the spread of disease.
Examples:
Out of quarantine. Mandatory quarantine. Due to the outbreak, the government imposed a 2-week quarantine for all travelers.
District.
A part of a country or town, especially one with particular features.
Examples:
School districts. Urban districts. Since 2001, the district has provided training programs for automotive technicians.
Refugee.
A displaced person who has crossed national borders and who cannot or is unwilling to return home due to political, religious, or economic reasons or because of a war.
Examples:
Global refugee crisis. The refugee camp. The community warmly welcomed the refugees.
Threat.
A strong indication or likelihood of harm, danger, or adverse consequences. An expression of intent to inflict harm or injury on someone or something, often made as a means of coercion or intimidation.
Examples:
Economic threat, environmental threat. The threat of severe weather prompted the city to issue an evacuation warning.
Intimidation.
The act of instilling fear or anxiety in someone, often to make them feel inferior or submissive. The use of threats or coercion to deter someone from taking a certain course of action.
Examples:
Act of intimidation, fear of intimidation. Using intimidation tactics in the workplace is unacceptable and should not be tolerated.
Mentor.
A person who helps and advises a younger or less experienced person over time, usually at work or school.
Examples:
Mentor for life, fashion mentor. As a mentor, he helped me realize my career.
Oath.
A solemn promise or affirmation, often made in a formal public setting, to do something or adhere to certain principles or beliefs. A formal declaration of one's commitment to a particular course of action, organization, or duty.
Examples:
Oath of allegiance, promise an oath. He took an oath to uphold the law as a police officer.
Pledge.
To make a formal promise to give or do something.
Examples:
Pledge my fidelity, pledge military assistance. At this ceremony, we will pledge allegiance to the country's flag.
Responsible.
Answerable or accountable for something within one's power, control, or management.
Examples:
Responsible action, responsible for customer service. She's a responsible pet owner who ensures her dog gets enough exercise and a healthy diet.
Recognize.
To acknowledge or realize something or someone, to identify, remember, or become aware of something that was previously known or encountered.
Examples:
Recognize talent, recognize achievement. It's important to recognize your strengths and weaknesses.
Journalism.
The profession or activity of writing or reporting news for publication or broadcast.
Examples:
Journalism ethics, tabloid journalism. She plans to study journalism in college and become a reporter.
Launch.
To send or propel something into the air or space using a device such as a rocket, missile, or spacecraft. To make something available or on sale for the first time.
Examples:
Launch a spaceship into orbit. Launch a big attack. The company is set to launch its new product line next month.
Flood.
A large amount of water flowing beyond its normal limits, an overwhelming number or amount.
Examples:
Flood advisory. A flood of questions. These heavy rains caused flash floods on several islands.
Hysterical.
Marked by or in a state of excessive or uncontrollable emotion.
Examples:
Hysterical laughter. Get hysterical easily. The frustration that had accumulated for a long time made her hysterical.
Inaccurate.
Not completely correct or exact, not conforming to the truth or a standard.
Examples:
Inaccurate measurement. Inaccurate figures. The information in the report was found to be inaccurate, so it had to be corrected before it was published.
Spark.
To start something or make it grow, especially suddenly, to emit a tiny piece of fire or electricity.
Examples:
Spark his interest. Spark a chain reaction. The bankruptcy of the giant conglomerate sparked turmoil in the stock market.
Panic.
A sudden strong feeling of fear that cannot be controlled and prevents reasonable thought and action.
Examples:
A panic reaction. Panic buying. The participation of oil-producing countries in the war caused panic in the financial markets.
Resolve.
To find a suitable answer to the problems or difficulty.
Examples:
Resolve a dispute. Resolve the computer error. This company resolves its battery problem completely.
Decision.
The act or process of making up someone's mind about something, a choice or judgment reached after considering options.
Examples:
Decision authority. A selfish decision. She was struggling to make a decision between two job offers.
Decide.
To make up someone's mind about something, to come to a conclusion or judgment after considering options.
Examples:
Decide a question. Decide on a course of action. She couldn't decide whether to order the pizza or the pasta for dinner.
Resist.
To refuse to accept something and attempt to prevent it from happening.
Examples:
Resist temptation. Resist being kissed. I chose to resist cancer by trying every possible treatment.
Temptation.
The desire to do or have something that you know you should not do or have, the act of influencing by exciting hope or desire.
Examples:
Withstand temptation. Many temptations. Researchers often succumb to the temptation of accolades and commit research misconduct.
Individual.
A single person or thing, as distinct from a group.
Examples:
A private individual. Individual freedom. As an individual, he had the right to make his own decisions and live his life as he saw fit.
Executive.
A person or group of people with top-level management responsibility in a business or other organization, the branch that is responsible for implementing, administering, and enforcing laws, as well as running the day-to-day operations.
Examples:
Executive editor at the publishing house. Executive vice president. As the executive director of the nonprofit, it's her responsibility to make sure they're meeting their mission goals.
Virus.
A tiny infectious organic material that causes disease in people, animals, and plants.
Examples:
Spread of the virus. A strain of virus. An infected person in the hospital will likely pass the virus to others.
Consequence.
The outcome of a particular action or event, especially relative to an individual.
Examples:
Unintended consequences. The consequence of an argument. These economic activities had disastrous environmental consequences.
Embrace.
To accept something willingly and enthusiastically. Noun, the act of clasping another person in the arms as in greeting or affection.
Examples:
Embrace an opportunity. A warm embrace. The woods embrace the house.
Simplistic.
Oversimplified or lacking in complexity or depth, characterized by an attempt to explain something complex or multifaceted with overly vague or simple terms.
Examples:
Simplistic approach. Simplistic design. The politician's solution to the problem was too simplistic to solve the underlying issue.
Accurate.
Correct and exact in all details.
Examples:
Provide accurate information. Accurate measurements. The official transcript contains accurate academic records.
Elbow.
The joint between the upper arm and the lower arm, the bend in a pipe or tube formed at this joint.
Examples:
Elbow bone. Elbow-length sleeves. She bruised her elbow after falling off her bike.
Pretension.
The act of claiming or asserting something, especially without good reason or without evidence, an unfounded or excessive claim or ambition.
Examples:
Pretension to authority. Baseless pretension. His pretensions of being a gourmet were quickly exposed when he could not identify basic herbs and spices.
Steep.
Having a sharp inclination or slope.
Examples:
A steep staircase. Steep discount. The steep cliff made it difficult to climb.
Cliff.
A steep rock face, especially one at the edge of the sea or a river.
Examples:
A bold cliff. Cliff diving. He stood at the edge of the cliff and looked out to sea.
Translate.
To convert or change words into another language.
Examples:
Translate a document into English. Translate the emotion to a movement. Translate the text from Italian into English.
Awaken.
To stop sleeping or to cause someone to stop sleeping.
Examples:
Awaken at daybreak. Awaken a child. The friend's death awakens them.
Reimagine.
To imagine or conceive of something in a new or different way.
Examples:
Reimagine the future. Reimagine the possibilities. The company is trying to reimagine its business model to stay competitive.